Okay, this is Violin 2, Ashokan Farewell, measures 1 until 31. 1, 2, 3. Alright, so when you're recording this, you'll be playing it with a click track, and so that's going to help you keep the time. But when I'm playing, I'm just counting, I'm making sure that I have a really solid beat in my head. In this piece, we've got to know that we're in D major, and so we've got F sharp and C sharp. But why are those important? Well, F sharp is scale degree 3. And so you're often going to hear that kind of harmony where it goes 3, 4, 3. And then C sharp is scale degree 7. And so you're going to have this kind of harmony. And so there's that evenness, there's the tension, there's the resolution. We have to bring that out every time it happens. And anytime there's a C natural, accidental, it's actually the same thing as those half-step harmonies, but they go into a different key for just a slight second. And so that C natural has to really be close to the B, and it has to lead a half step in. So let's look at measure 2 to 3. You have that C natural to B. Bring that out a lot. It starts on up bow, measure 2, 1, 2, 3. You know, that's kind of a beautiful melody. Even though you're playing second violin, you don't have the melody per se. You make what you can and make those melodies come out. Another important half-step moment is in measure 8, where we have D to C sharp. And it's really important to play fourth finger D here, so that you can just lift that fourth finger up and reveal the C sharp beneath it. And bring that C sharp out. That's some tension in that chord. So here's starting at measure 7. 1, 2, 3. So let that C sharp be held all the way until measure 9. At measure 9, we have F sharp to C natural. Remember, every time you have a C natural in this piece, it's leading into a B because it's actually borrowing from a different key slightly. So you can really hear how that C natural leads into the B. We talked about how scale degree 4 is G, leading into 3. The C natural to the B is another thing is the same thing, but it's in the key of G. Okay, moving on. As we go to these quarter notes, really important to stay steady. I'm going to have a metronome with it, with the playback, measure 10, 11, 12. But we have a lot of quarter notes in a row here, and even though it's just a quarter note, it's kind of easy to rush it. So make sure you're on really steady. This is measure 12. 1, 2, 3. So a bunch of quarters in a row. Another tricky thing about that part is you have to really make sure that your quarters are super even. I'm not using a lot of bow on those quarters. I'm not, because using a ton of bow there really makes it come out too much. But we need just enough so that it's heard. Not too much bow. We don't want that. Okay, moving on, 17. Make sure we have 4th finger D. That gives us a chance to play it right in tune and do vibrato. 2, 3, 2. Tricky rhythm here. So that B, C sharp, D, 1, 2, and 3, 1. Let's practice that. Let's measure 19. Ready? 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, and 3. Yeah, again. 1, 2, and 3. 1, 2, and 3. Nice. Moving on, we have a down bow D, and then we have an up bow written in. So even though it's tied, we're actually going to separate that. And that is measure 21, 21, 22. Here it is, 21, 22. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2. Okay, let's look at measure 21. And so this is a D across 2 bars. We have a down bow and up bow. So make sure you change on the second bar. 2, 3. 1, 2. 1, 2, 3. So in measure 23, we have a decrescendo, but those eighth notes are important because no one else has those eighth notes there. So we have to bring that part out. And I got backwards on the bowing there. Once we get to that C sharp in 24, yes, bring that out. C sharp, you know, to make sure that's really in tune. Should be a half step below scale degree 1 because that's the leading tone. All right, moving on, 25. 1, 2, 3. So this would be the second time through, so you're going to go straight to that second ending, no first ending, that's just rests. And in measure 20, in measure 31, sorry, we have that tricky rhythm again. It's going to be 1, 2, and 3. Ready, here we go. 1, 2, and 3. So that dotted quarter note really needs to be all the way through. Okay, throughout this whole section, legato, everything's connected. There's a few spots that we do want some breaks. So, for example, at the end of 28, that's the end of the phrase there, that 4-bar phrase. So I'd play 25 through 28 like this. But I'm not going to totally add a rest in. I'm just taking a second to pause. It does need to stay metronomic. Since we're recording this all separately, that metronome's got to be right with your playing. Alright folks, so that is measure 1 until 31 of the second violin part.